Well, good morning, sunshines. Callie Carroll here. How's everybody doing? Welcome to our 28 days of intentional gratitude practice that we have been doing with Rhonda Byrne's book, The Magic. And I've just been providing some support and story and commentary on each one of the days through these different conversations we're having to support you in your journey. If you haven't done all of the days, you are welcome to go back to day one and start at the beginning. And if you have done them all, you can go do them again and again and again. It's very supportive. Today, we actually dive into a more confrontational subject of mistakes that we have made. And this is such an important conversation because many of us tend to get hung up on our past. In fact, our book club next month, we're going to be diving into worry and what it does to us and how to alleviate a lot of that, and looking at our need to live in this moment instead of in the past or in the future for that matter so often. Because when we continuously bring our mistakes from the past into our present, we are almost certain to repeat the mistakes because it's what we're thinking about all the time, instead of not just forgiving but reviewing, learning, and moving on. And when we can acknowledge the quote unquote mistakes and go through this practice, you might find that on the other end, you don't even see them as mistakes anymore. I was prepping myself for this conversation before I started, and I was going back through my life, and I'm like, okay, let me go through all my different mistakes. And assuredly, there are thousands, if not millions, of quote unquote mistakes. But the thing is I don't view them as that anymore. So it's challenging for me to choose those because I see them all as learning experiences. Not selling our home before the market crashed when we were in real estate and mortgages, but we thought we were some sort of invincible at the time. And then we couldn't even short sell. And then we lost multiple homes in bankruptcy. You could call that a mistake. You could, but my life wouldn't be the same without that experience that we have got to go through. Even though it was hard at the time, we learned so much and came out as different people doing different careers, which have led us to where we are today. So no longer does it feel like it's a mistake in my head. I could say that overworking in 2017 and not allowing myself the rest, and finally creating the situation where I had this year-long traumatic brain injury and this concussion that disabled me from working, that was a mistake. I should have listened sooner. But that wasn't my journey. That wasn't how my story was written. I learned so much from that year of limited mindset abilities, of having to relax, of slowing down a monumental amount compared to how I usually am. You guys see how fast I talk? I'm really trying to slow it down right now because I talk much quicker than this in my normal lifetime conversations. But I had to take it back to where I was like barely even bringing out the words. And it was a huge learning time for me. So was that a mistake, or was it just one of my chapters that led me to where I am today? And I could go through one after the other of the mistakes in my life. But the beautiful thing is that I've learned from them. And if you don't acknowledge those things that you quote unquote call mistakes from your past for what they are, learning experiences, take the lessons, and then move towards your future, towards your today, in fact, in a different fashion, that's the only place where something's lost. And interestingly enough, if you don't learn from your mistakes, the universe is going to continue to deliver you the same lesson over and over and over until you finally do learn and make a shift in your actions. One of the things Rhonda talks about in her book is how we watch children learning and growing. And we don't only, well, I hope you guys parent this way. We don't only allow for their mistakes to be made, we encourage them to make mistakes to learn and grow. A child doesn't learn to walk overnight. They go from laying to sitting to crawling to, cruising along furniture to finally taking the steps and falling down over and over again. My son the other day was helping bring in the groceries, my 5-year-old. And my 17-year-old didn't finish his milk at lunch. So I just put the cup in the refrigerator. And I come inside, and my son, my 5-year-old's like, Mom, I put the milk away. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of you, bud. Like, that's a big deal. He went out, he grabbed the milk, he's helping out, he put it in. And I open up the fridge, and there is milk everywhere. I mean, all over the entire fridge. First reaction is like, oh, dang it. Second reaction is, okay, well, don't cry over spilled milk. That's silly, quite literally. Third reaction or consideration could be, whose mistake was that, anyways? I am the one. My shirt's on backwards. My shirt, it's fine. Let's just leave it backwards. I was like, what is that? And that's my tag. Leave your shirt on backwards, Cal. It's not a mistake. That's a fashion statement. The third, I think, thing that I could just acknowledge, like, whose mistake was that? Was it my little ones for helping out? Was it my big ones for not finishing his milk? Or was it mine for putting the unfinished milk in the fridge and then my little one decided to help? So, like, whatever, right? So my final reaction was, hey, I'm going to clean this whole fridge. Now I've got two, not all of them, but two pristinely cleaned shelves that I swept around and got all good in there. And then another one of the like side shelves, because everywhere their milk was, I cleaned it up. So not only did we learn from it, but now I have a cleaner fridge. That's what it's like when you look at the mistakes, quote unquote. I just can't get around that word that we make. We encourage children to learn and grow. My son, my 5-year-old, in order to learn how to unload the groceries and bring them into the house and put them away, there might be some mistakes made. We all have the freedom to make our own choices, so we are going to make mistakes. That's just the fact. That's part of life. It's like the conversation that I love to have, deciding that we need to embrace failure for what it is. Failure is moving forward. It's what it should be. To learn from a mistake, we first have to own it. And this is where many people can become undone because they often blame someone else for their mistakes. Let's talk about blame for a second. I don't want to own that. I don't want to own my marriage ending. I don't want to own my child no longer speaking to me. I don't want to own the milk spilling all over the fridge. I don't want to own any of that. Well, if you can't take ownership for your action, if you can't take ownership for what you did, that means you have no control over that and you cannot change the circumstances. And when you decide to play the blame game, you are going to continue to suffer the consequences of the mistake, and you're not going to learn from it. Let's just say, I like to use extreme examples sometimes. Let's just say that you have been in an unloving, uncommunicative relationship for a while, months, years, whatever that is. And it's at the point now where it's like things are going south, right? Like we're talking about the big D. We're going to be moving on from this, and you want to blame the other person for their actions. But if you paused and looked at what your actions were, what were you bringing to the table? Were you providing love and support? Were you encouraging communication? Were you seeking out counseling or different things to support you? Were you looking at what the other person's love language was? Were you giving the time and dedication to yourself? Because we know we can't love others more than we love ourselves. So if you don't love yourself, then you can't really love them. What was your part? What was your participation? What was your give to this situation that you're in now? And I'm not saying that we don't have outside circumstances come into us. I don't know how to like fully take on the responsibility for Witten getting cancer because it wasn't our actions that led to that, but I can still acknowledge them for what they are, that there's something that I cannot change. And I'm not going to blame someone else. I'm not going to try to figure out if it was the water or the microwave or the doctor not telling us soon enough, or that doesn't do anybody any good. The blame game, not a positive place to be, you guys. It's not a positive place to be. And especially realizing that when you're blaming, when you're pointing the finger, that next relationship that you're in, that next marriage, if you don't tend to it, if you don't tend to your communication, if you don't tend to your self love, if you don't tend to your growth and maturity, if you don't tend to the intentional communication with them, you're going to end in the same spot that you ended the last one with. So we have to learn from our mistakes in order to really find that forward movement. In today's practice, we're actually going to give gratitude for the mistakes that we made in our life. And the recommendation here is to choose a scenario that impacted you and find 10 things that you're grateful for about it. It's kind of like when we did the one with relationships, like, oh, I have to give gratitude for them. Yep. I have to give gratitude for the mistake. Absolutely. For me, just we'll go right back to the bankruptcy one, to the not selling our home soon enough. We watched the market, we watched it falling all around us, and because one of our neighbors just sold for 100,000 more, we thought, nah, we're good, we're untouchable, we're in blankety blank neighborhood. Okay. And looking at that mistake, quote unquote, and how it moved our lives, I could say, thank you, thank you, thank you for the lessons that I learned during that time. Thank you for the humbleness that it brought me. Thank you for the recognition that I get to stop caring what other people think and being my authentic self and my truest self, no matter what. I got to stop hiding. Thank you for the lesson of learning what anxiety and stress can do to your body. I learned that it can make you sick, sick, sick. And that I had to get rid of that worry, and I did not want to carry that into my future anywhere. Thank you for my husband finding his passion and truest way of expressing himself in the soccer world, because he moved out of the mortgage world that he didn't truly love. Thank you for the same thing for myself, moving into the fitness world and the health world, which led me into the mindset transformation world, which led me right where I am right now. I never would have been here. If I was in real estate, I never would have been in this point. This was an event that changed our lives. Thank you for the lessons that my bigs learned. When we would go to the grocery store and they would be whining and crying for a Matchbox car or a pack of gum, and we didn't just like tell them out of a made up story. We absolutely told them out of necessity. No, you cannot have that. That is not, we're not in a position to be able to purchase that right now. And they learned about receiving in a good way. Not that they're not great at receiving now, but they learned that it's not just about whining and getting what you want. Thank you so much for the relationships that we've developed along the way with different humans who have supported us on our journey. There are so many things that I have learned from that situation. So many different things. And I'm truly grateful for it. And when you can find gratitude from the mistakes in your life, you can let go of them, let go of the past, let go of the blame, let go of the anger, let go of the worry of what it would be like if I had just. That's a dangerous game, you guys. Oh, if I had, never. The if I, just even the like if I had, looking to the past, that is not a space you want to allow yourself to be, because that is not a healthy space to be in. Because you didn't. The fact is, you didn't. You took the actions you took. You played the part in the event that occurred that you played, and you are where you are now. Do you want to sit in the shit, or do you want to move forward? I just saw a quote, and I'm going to butcher it, of course, but something along the lines of, when you're going through hell, do you want to stay in it? Is that what you want to have to do? You want to stay in it? I'm going through the worst time right now. I'm just going to stay in it. Or would you rather get up off the floor and stop blaming everybody else and find gratitude in your heart for what can change from this situation? It's a beautiful practice. Giving gratitude for your mistakes is so empowering, because all of a sudden you'll be similar to me, where you're like, but I can't even think of mistakes that I made, because those were mistakes. Those were learning experiences. Did I put my shirt on backwards today? Yeah, I did. Is that a mistake? No. I mean, I just learned that I can wear my shirt forward or backwards and it's okay. I learned that it itches a little bit up on the neck and maybe I'll do it the other way next time. I didn't, I learned a little something. Your mistakes are learning experiences. And when you see it that way, you will move forward in a more positive direction with a more positive energy and vibration, which means you're going to continue to bring more positivity into your life. Whatever your past was, it's your past. It's time. I really am telling you guys this. It is time to confront that and receive it and learn from it, which will lead you to a pure forgiveness, which will make you so much lighter moving forward. Thank you so much for taking the time today to go through a more confrontational subject of our mistakes and blaming and things that can be hard for us to see. And I am extremely intrigued by the changes and evolution and development you can experience, you will experience if you take this practice on. Make sure you share with me, you guys. And don't forget to tell your friends it's trending to wear your clothes backwards. It is. You can even pop the tag out if you want to, like that. Don't forget, perspective reveals miracles. I love you all so much, and we'll talk to you later on. Probably.